He's calling your into order and see.
Yeah.
What do we get? That recess?
Hang on, we're not even on.
I think so.
Oh, I guess we don't.
But I'm not.
We have Jessica calling it.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
As far as count. No Kensington.
His son's birthday is today.
Oh, so he's actually in town, he isn't. I know.
Oh, so he's not tomorrow.
It isn't. That's if I can.
Well, sure.
I don't care what time.
Since it was gonna be a long meeting, it's gonna be busy.
Yeah. It's not gonna mean.
Oh. Missed you.
Is it okay
I
to?
don't like it.
Okay, here we go.
Thank God.
We'll call the city council public hearing on February 4th, 2026 to order. Clerk can take the roll. Mayor Smith? Here. Deborah Adams?
Here.
Aaron Hanson is absent. Casey Kinsman is absent. Mike Mickelson?
Here.
Wendy Rainey?
Here.
Kathy Sherman?
Here.
Dave Zastro?
Here.
That's formal council. Thank you. So for the public hearing, we have 3 resolutions on the agenda. That people are. If people are interested in coming and commenting on these, we've got resolution 02-2603. A resolution of the Council of the City of Cordova, Alaska, authorizing eligible applicants for 2026 property tax exemptions. We have resolution 02-2604, a resolution, Council of the City of Cordova, Alaska, authorizing a single family residential economic development property tax exemption on lot 3, block 2, Whiskey Ridge subdivision for 8 years. And resolution 02-2605, a resolution of the council authorizing a mixed-use residential commercial economic development property tax exemption on lot 4A, block 5, Northfield Development Park for 15 years. So does anyone want to come forward and speak to any resolutions? While we have a taker.
Council, Mayor. My name is David Allison. I'm at 203 Whiskey Ridge Road. I'm one of your applicants, is a new neighbor of mine. Just like to remind council that we spent a lot of time, blood, sweat and tears, setting up this exemption, and it's nice to see people taking advantage of that and putting in their application. So I encourage you to support both of these applications tonight. Well, all 3 of them, I guess, with the exemptions. The only thing that I would suggest or ask council to do over the next 8 or 9 months is don't let that expiration date for this whole program expire on you before it's, before you come up against that deadline. Because it does sunset. I think is it this year?
End of 27.
Oh, end of 27. So, don't let that date sneak up in you, and hopefully we can get some good statistics on what it has done for the city, so that we make a more informed decision than we had when we set it up. So, anyway, I encourage you to support both applications or all 3 applications this evening and create more economic development for Cordova. Thank you.
Thanks, David. Do we have any other public comment? If not, we could recess the hearing for a few minutes. Sure. But I think I mean that just. But I'm looking down there. You know what I mean? You're listening to us visit with each other. Yes.
They just moved back. They just moved back.
That would be my. I'll go ahead. So is there anybody who wants to comment during the public hearing on the items that are on the public hearing agenda?
We're in the public hearing, which is this, which is 3 resolutions, if anybody wants to comment on that.
Yeah.
I just, you both, no, I think you wanna wait for the.
Checking, see. Well, then maybe we'll adjourn the public hearing. The public hearing adjourned. Then it will. Convene the regular council meeting. You could go ahead and convene the meeting. My phone's at 7:01. These.
I agree, they are, that's a spot.
Perfect. Let's call the regular council meeting to order, and will you join me in the pledge of allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice. So the clerk will please take the roll.
Mayor Smith,
Here.
Deborah Adams,
Here.
Aaron Hanson,
Here.
Casey Kinsman is absent, Mike Mickelson,
Here.
Wendy Rainey,
Here.
Kathy Sherman,
Here.
Dave Zastro.
Here.
That's a formal council.
Thank you. We have an agenda before us. Does anybody have any modifications to the agenda as presented? So hearing no objection, we'll consider that approved. Disclosures of conflict of interest and ex parte communication. Does anyone have any conflicts of interest or ex parte communications to declare? Member Adams?
Madam Mayor, I have a financial interest in the, tax exemption list. My name is on it.
Okay. Let's see, I think
I think
the,
I just need to declare it.
right, the threshold, I think, is $5,000, so. You're probably under that threshold, right? So I don't think that that rises to the level of a substantial conflict of interest. Thank you for disclosing.
I guess I should do same.
Okay.
Okay.
I'd like to
declare that I'm not on the list.
Yeah. You will be.
Eventually.
I would say the same thing, that it does not rise to the level of a substantial conflict of interest. All right, so communications by and petitions from visitors, guest speakers. We don't have any guest speakers. We can take audience comments from folks regarding agenda items, and I'm gonna ask people to be mindful, just please keep your comments to 3 minutes so that we have time for everyone. Thank you.
I have a short letter in the packet. It's about my tax exemption or the loss of it. And I would just like a council vote. And if that can't happen tonight, the next meeting would be fine. I would just like to know when that vote is going to happen. Or what I can do to make it happen. That's pretty much it. So it won't be voted on tonight, right? Because it's not an action item on the agenda. Am I right about that?
Yes,
Okay, thank you.
thank you.
Thanks, Joe.
Hey.
And Charlie Beckett, Cordova resident at 317 First Street. I'm here to comment on the executive session agenda item regarding the Copper Star. So thank you for requesting an update from the city on the legal issues between the city of Cordova and the Cordova Copper Star. I can tell you all now, nothing has changed. There's been zero movement towards mediation, and the city is still countersuing me for their negligence and incompetence. The city has done nothing that I'm aware of towards resolving this matter, and the insurance lawyer has a history of not mediating or settling claims. So it's up to all of you on the council to course correct this. As you all know, the travel lift incident occurred in August of 23. I earnestly tried working through insurance to resolve the claims, but was eventually denied by the city insured. Airflow 24 is when I first brought my request to the city for help, which I got a response from a lawyer, and that forced me to secure one. It was only after the city escalated legally that I started making public information requests and learned the true extent of the city's negligence and incompetence. Hopefully, some of you have looked back at those records to validate those claims, and that the city was not properly maintaining the lift, failed to properly train operators, failed to abort the operation after a clear mechanical failure, deleted the video evidence, and misrepresented the insurance claim to the insurers. Bottom line, the city breached its duty of care and has misrepresented this incident to the community and insurance. And while it's great the city now inspects the travel lift more frequently, they still do not appear to be doing or are not documenting or recommending proper maintenance. Also, it's in the manual, and there's a flyer on the vendor website that those straps that are constantly left on the ground outside by the travel lift should be cleaned after use and stored inside. I brought a copy just so that staff has it. I understand when insurance is given misleading or false information, it can be a challenge to correct without making bigger issues, but the city really needs to take responsibility for their negligence and make the Cordova Copper Star whole. I've personally suffered significant losses from this incident, had multiple health issues caused from this unnecessary stress, and this incident has negatively damaged our fishing community. I do not plan on letting the city get a free pass. I will continue to pursue this issue, wasting more of everyone's time and resources until there is some accountability by the city with fair resolution for the Cordova Copper Star. Please do what's right, accept the responsibility for staff incompetence and negligence, and direct your insurance to mediate a fair settlement to get this issue resolved. I've always done my part for the community. I'm just asking you to do yours.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Are there any other audience comments? Okay, then we can move on to chairpersons and representatives of boards and commissions. Sandra's here tonight.
Hi, I'm Hannah Sanders, first for CCMC. We got some exciting news yesterday that the hospital has been named in the federal appropriations bill. Senator Murkowski has secured $3 million for our infrastructure projects at the hospital. This money is really directed toward deferred maintenance. We probably need at least $10 million to get us fully repaired with some of the deferred maintenance and modernized in some of our systems, primary systems. I've talked to you guys a lot about the generator, our air handling, and then also our fire suppression system are our top priorities right now. So super exciting to have that and be able to correct some of these things for us while we look at the rural health transformation project funding that the state of Alaska is getting over the next 5 years. That money is to modernize healthcare. We'll be partnering with NVE, with other critical access hospitals, and then looking at things just for our hospital and trying to look at how we can expand services and modernize services. None of the rural health transformation money can be used to supplant any of our existing programs, and it's pretty limited on like capital improvements or infrastructure improvements, but a lot of neat opportunities for the hospital. All of our day-to-day operations still are coming from patient care and utilization, so I always put that plug in, use the hospital. If you wanna have a hospital here in Cordova, make sure you get as much help as you can from there. Only what you need, of course, we want everybody to be healthy. Any question?
You have any idea when you'll be able to start spending that money? Thank you.
It,
Not so
we
fast.
expect that it still is a few months away.
Well, great news. Congratulations.
Evening, full house as I've seen. David Jenka represents the city of Cordova on the board of directors of the Prince William Sound Regional Citizens Advisory Council. A couple of weeks ago, had a full board meeting in Anchorage on the January 22nd, 23rd. Just wanted to bring out a couple of highlights and updates on things. One exciting thing that took place, which was a long battle, a lot of cooperative folks, was to get language into the National Defense Authorization Act to exempt approved vessels to continue to work for SERVs. That was under threat through previous language that was just gonna pretty much shut it all down, but through the work with RCAC staff and volunteers, as well as Alyeska Pipeline Service Company, Cook Inlet Regional Citizens Advisory Council, Washington State Maritime Cooperative, SERVs, Cook Inlet Spill Prevention, and others. They got it, and our congressional delegation, all three to make it happen. So at least for now, it's all safe, probably for at least three years. Another exciting thing that's been long in the process and grind is we hired contractor Tom Crastadina. He does those cross-section workboat books and should be out in May, but he's done one for Protectors of Prince William Sound, we funded. So it's gonna be cross sections of the tugs, a lot of information on the service vessels. A little bit intro on the oil spill and the service fishing fleet, cross sections of the fishing fleet. Really excited about this coming out. A lot of help with service and LES on that too, but probably bring it out in the May board meeting in Valdez. They're excited about it enough that they'll get the tugs out to their big firefighting spray show for it. And the meeting went really well. The usual updates from SERVs and Alyeska and our ex officio members like Oil Spill Recovery Institute and Coast Guard and such, and updates from our technical committees and our projects that are ongoing and some voting on some finish up reports and projects. We also had about a half hour of the new Department of Environmental Conservation Commissioner online with us, introducing himself and chat about some things. So far seems to be pretty good. He did mention that he was pretty proud of it, not that it's in RCAC's purview, but about a new program to make money available for cleanup for individual oil tank spills, to kind of promote that, kind of no questions, you had it spilled, okay, let's help you get it cleaned up. So it seems a real proactive program for that, if anybody's needing that. And then the big thing that's going on right now is every 3 years, we go through a more detailed recertification through the Coast Guard for the Prince William Sound RCAC. And so letters of support, there's a little something in here, is a little late, so I think you guys could put one together from the whole council by the due date of the 15th, but individually, it'd be really helpful, just comments. I submitted mine yesterday and go to the website, there's just a little link there, you can just type it right in and submit it, and just with any support, something you really like about what we've done, been doing, and hope to do. is good, and you can just go to the RCAC website, which is pwsrcac.org. And if there's any questions, I'll continue to be on the board for you. Thank you.
We really value your service, thank you, and the reports, yeah. Okay, there's no one from the school board here, right, so. And we do have resolution from the planning commission. Capital improvement projects. Well, there isn't anybody here from P and Z that wants to speak to that, is there? Okay. All right, so then we have before us the consent calendar.
So now there's polling for anything, I will call the roll on consent calendar. Dave Zastro,
Yes.
Patty Sherman,
Yes.
Deborah Adams,
Yes.
Aaron Hanson,
Yes.
Kinsman is absent, Wendy Rainey,
Yes.
Mike Mickelson.
Yes.
The consent calendar is approved.
Thank you. We don't have any minutes, we don't have any consideration of bids, proposals or contracts. So we come to the mayor's report. I did not include a written report exactly. I did, the piece that was in the packet is something I wrote for the Cordova Times, which I don't think has been published yet. But yeah, just trying to help with getting the word out about the ballot proposition. And you also saw in the reports and correspondence about the Alaska Rural Veterinary Outreach, which is in correspondence. So we did have a short list. Dave Janka asked about a letter of support for Prince William Sound RCAC, and I was gonna write one from the city in support of RCAC, if there's concurrence for that.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. I think you all know we're talking about having a work session coming up in a couple weeks about capital improvement planning. I have talked to the city manager about that a little bit. I just signed up today for the infrastructure symposium that's in April in Anchorage. It's April 7th, 8th and 9th. So maybe city staff are planning on going to. There's something up that I can about what's available. I have been talking with the public works director and the new director of resiliency, I think is the title, at the science center, Mauricia Zinkoviak, about, she's interested in putting together a grant application to, look at water demand and possible solutions for helping us improve flow in times when the demand is tight and the water resources are low. So there's that. And I also just had a conversation with, one of the things that I received as the mayor is a letter from the Coast Guard about us resubmitting our application as a Coast Guard city, which I think is supposed to happen every 5 years, and the questions on the application were all about, what do you do for the Coast Guard to show them appreciation? And I thought, we asked them to do a lot. I don't know, we could maybe think about ways we want to show appreciation. But I did talk to the executive officer Linda Duncan, to say like, what do you know about what we should be, what do you see happening in other communities? And she said, I don't really know what's expected. She had a couple of comments, about the Coast Guard operating in town and saying like, we have the same struggles everybody else does with shipping. Shipping is a huge issue for them, I guess. Getting things shipped in, and so all the jobs that they do sometimes take a few more weeks because of shipping, getting stuff here, it gets delayed. So I'm not sure what we do about that, but let's see, she did say, I asked her about just making sure that they know about community events. She said there's, she talked about the morale officer and an email, and we can make sure that they get emails from us about events going on that we want to be sure to include the Coast Guard in. And she said, we're very interested in engaging with the community, which I think they do. I know she also talked about working on a contract with Bedarkey for use, for Coast Guard crew. And she also said that August 4th is US Coast Guard Day, and it's a day that they have a picnic. And that might be a day that we could coordinate something where we're also showing our appreciation for the Coast Guard and their service here in town, so. That would be something we could put some thoughts together about, but she ended by saying this community does a great job with its events. So I thought, well, that's great that that's kind of what stands out to people who are, you know, just here for a short time and have been in lots of other communities, and I think that's pretty cool that that's what they notice about our vibe, so. And yeah, shipping and housing are the two things that really stood out on her list as being a challenge for folks who are coming from out of town. They're stationed here. Like she said, it's the same for all of us. You know, everybody has those challenges. Yeah, yes, Councilmember.
That kind of reminds me of what we did recently, what you were able to pull together recently, which was a meeting with kind of the community leaders and what are the common things we all should be focused on. Again, that's a very common need that we all have.
Yeah.
There's more room for those discussions.
Yeah. Yeah, the shipping thing, I don't know enough about what's happening with the businesses here, right here in town, but I know, I have been hearing that there's a big gap, I guess, and I don't know if anybody's picked up the business of bringing freight in from the airport the way, Cam Two's used to do. Sure. but-
Yeah, Ace.
Yeah.
Ace is taking
okay.
it over.
Okay.
Yep.
Great. But yeah, what do you want to know? Okay. Well, I did think that maybe we need I can chat with you and we can talk about strategize for. Do we need a working group? That's the step. Yeah. So, any questions? I'm happy to answer questions. Okay.
Just a comment, it was really great to see the effort out there to get information to the public about the ballot measure coming up.
Mhm.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Got many places, so
Mhm.
hopefully people are getting the word out. I important.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna echo that. There's been a lot of dialogue.
Yeah.
It's really helpful to address it directly. Yes.
Yeah, I think that's mostly coming from city staff. I mean, it is at this point, because, yeah, what I wrote has not been published, so it's all, yeah, the messaging that staff have put together.
And Mayor,
Yeah.
this is the place to also suggest, and I've already spoken to, city manager about this, that to put together a video. A short clip and with just the facts and information about, why the bear fence and the costs and the savings that we're going to have. Not telling people how to vote, but to give for the same purpose as the flyers. But I think if it comes from credible sources, people who work for the city, giving the public the facts and put it on YouTube or put it on Facebook, city's website. Doesn't have to be long, but I think that would be very effective, because being a teacher who used to teach reading, I know people don't read.
Right, people get their information in lots of different ways, and video
That's
is certainly
one.
one of them right now, yeah. Well, maybe, yeah, we can talk about ideas,
Suggestion.
yeah, okay. Thank you. Right. So, city managers
So
report?
that just leads us right into Kevin and the fair information that he was gonna come up and talk about. So you get to go first.
I was just here in case you had any questions about the information that's gone out or anything like that, so, I mean, sounds like everybody here is taking a look at the messaging and has a pretty decent idea, but, like I said, if you have any additional questions or want more information, I can give that to you.
Okay, good.
Yeah, we'll keep pushing information out and, we'll start talking about getting a little video together, so.
Great.
We'll do just the facts, just the facts.
I'd say too, if we're gonna put a video together, not with too much pressure, you guys to do anything, they take a ton of time, but pull in other entities in the community, fish, ADF and G, Forest Service for the wildlife part of it too, professionals in that line, but that's what the messaging is obviously, so.
Yeah.
Great, thank you.
Well, that's next, and next we'll get all the. Thing.
Hey, everyone. Happy Barn. Again, I was hoping to have a little bit better of an update for you guys, tonight, you know, we're on the verge of opening up school again, and that didn't happen, so I sent you out, or Sam did. Just an update on what was going on, because of the weather right now, and we had some illnesses on our maintenance team, we haven't been able to cut into the pool yet. To see what's going on with it, I did get a quote from Peterson's to do that, and I also got a quote from Renosis. To come back and seal it up if that is an option, and we are having an easier fix, when we do open up the pool. Not all is lost, but, I just, yeah, once we open it up, we'll see, the extent of the damage, for it, but I did also wanna say that, there's been some miscommunication or misunderstanding about the water table that's been coming up in the pool, and that it needs to be diverted, I've heard a lot of different things. The pool's doing what it's supposed to be doing. The water comes up through it, it's engineered that way, what it's lacking is water in it. So if there's water in it, it takes away a lot of all of these issues that we're having. So right now, we pumped the pool out again today because we had about 2 feet of water in it this morning, so it's just a continued amount, pools are not built to be empty. And so, if we do end up finding out that it's not a big fix and we can fix it, we're gonna put water in it immediately before Renosis comes. And we have direction from them how to do that, and then pump it back out when they get here, so. We can't contact them to come in yet because we don't know when we'll be done with it, so. It's really just a waiting game with this weather, it looks like there's gonna be snow this week, snow's good. And so hopefully we can come together, but Parks and Rec is ready, to make it happen, and Peterson's too. Make it happen, but we'll keep y'all updated.
Thank you.
Any
Thanks.
questions about
Thank you.
anything?
I just have my fingers crossed.
Oh, yeah, I do too, and I know that you guys have heard this, but, this is a Band-Aid if we fix it. And we need to look at, the engineer kept telling me over and over again, we need to look at the building as a whole. Condition assessment report with that, so it really is like, this is just a fix on a bigger problem of the whole building.
That's an important message to make clear to folks.
Yeah. We'll do the best that we can, and like I said, we're not really gonna know a lot until we open it up.
Thank you.
Questions?
Thanks for putting so much time and effort into it and trying to.
Wasn't definitely not the outcome I wanted when I saw it fall, but it was, you know, it is what it is, and we just need to move forward.
Just on a positive note, all the new equipment at Darky is really exciting to see too.
Yeah, how cool is our community? It's really awesome that people have stepped up and just really helped us out. We got some great donations from yeah, from Ridgeline, from Trident Seafood, the First National Bank. So it's been great. I'm sorry if I missed anyone, but yeah, everyone's been in support of it, and we actually got Trident actually reached out again today because they want to do the same thing in other communities, like Wrangell for their Parks and Rec. So it's really cool. They asked for the information on what we ordered. So hopefully start a trend here.
That's nice.
That's really great. Thank you.
Thanks.
So I think I just wanna add that Amanda and I have met with Alaska Wild Seafoods. On the purchase agreement, we're keeping that rolling, moving through, there's a lot of moving issues, there's a lot of things going on. It's gonna be a little bit of a process. We also, we met with ME, that is another big, purchase and sale agreement that will move for you. And then, speaking of the CIP meeting, right now my goal is to do it on the 17th, an hour before it's the 18th. An hour before the meeting, when the mayor and I spoke, we talked about having so there, some samples, like a sample one pager of a little write-up and what that might look like for projects. A sample kind of financial and other summaries. And then the other thing that I wanna add is equipment, like equipment, our capital improvement projects do, and we need some equipment. So I wanna do one for that. And, which reminds me of the other, thing is like we are getting some great efforts out of staff. Not that they don't always have great efforts, but above and beyond, Amanda and, Aaron, the fire marshal have been meeting, coming up with some ideas for the new public safety building. They're starting to try to get things rolling on that, so things are rolling, and it's a hard one to pin down. But I will say, I think the biggest question that we need to address at that work session is, what do we want to bond for? Because we can't bond for 10 different projects. So some of the other projects, are gonna have to be more grassroots and done more similar to the harbor where there's like 15 different grant agencies, and that is a very taxing thing to do on staff. So just some fun for next meeting. And if anything changes, I'll let you know between now and then, if things get a little, something comes up that I can't pull that together, but I think I can. So. We'll go from there. Any questions?
I got a couple.
Okay.
Just for some information, so the soil's all removed, gone, out of town, the contaminated soil,
Yes.
so that's it, there's no more to go.
No, not from us and not from Doug.
Enough about it, that's gonna happen,
Yeah.
that's great.
Yeah.
I do have a question, just because there's some variety of different properties that we've been making decisions on throughout town. And I know we don't have big snow years the last couple of years, but in the inventory of where we do have snow dumps in town, how do we feel as operational? Are we more than enough space for an average year, above average year?
Oh, that's a tough question to really answer, I think. I mean, I don't know if Kevin can come up if he wants, I think generally. We will lose where the NBE building will be going, we will not be putting snow on there. Starting next year. But we have that little place beside it where Copper River Watershed built the sand trap.
Basin.
So we still have that area, we have the high school, which is the large one down here. I think. What becomes a large issue is if there's so much snow that we have to clean out the snow dumps. That's hauling and taking things, and that's where you get. Big costs and time, I mean, it just takes time, and we got one dump truck. So if we had to do that, and actually, I guess the dump truck is a sand truck.
I don't bother.
Yeah, volleyball, sorry. Yeah, so there's some logistics that would have to be put into place. But that was a conversation that was kind of talked about when that lot went out for sale, and that's gonna be an impact. That's something.
Question.
Yeah. Sorry.
We know. What does it take to use the ocean?
So that is a question, and shouldn't cut no, and I will shake my head yes.
So-
DEC said no, but.
So, I mean, I'm in Kodiak,
Mhm.
that's where it goes.
Yeah.
Yes,
That's every truck, I mean, there's literally gates on the docks.
Mhm.
And that is how they deal with their snow,
Yeah.
is it goes into the ocean. Similar, if it rained and it all washed down into the ocean, it's.
and in Snowpocalypse, we did that, we literally, we
Yeah.
dumped a lot, and when we built our ramp down there on the south, hill, we're pushing it out. When we have enough snow that we actually have a ramp that's going over, it's going to the side. So yeah, the haul may be from. the lot behind Second Street where you're, because to run a loader back and forth when you're doing the school, you know, those kinds of logistics, you know, it could be that short of a run. But with one loader or one dump truck, or it's a contract or whatever, you know, it's all doable, it's just.
I just, if this is the consensus, is we're running out of space, we have a giant option potentially.
It's a logistics okay with that, but I do agree with you, it's a place where she's okay.
Sure.
So.
Thank you.
Yep.
Thanks, Don.
Any other questions for the manager? All right, city clerk's report.
In catching up a little this week, quite the packet that Colette was able to print and put together. But the declaration of candidacy closed, Friday, and there are 4 running for 2 council seats, Lee Collins, John Brenner, Casey Kinsman, Sonia Hadmuller. Melanie Tell is running for school board, 1 seat, and Kelsey Hayden for HSB, there's 1 seat, and she's running. And then we have Prop 1. Made a sample ballot today and sent it out to the candidates. They have like a couple of days to look it over, make sure the name is spelled right and whatever. And then I'll start printing them this week because early voting starts on Tuesday. On the 10th. And otherwise, you know, just getting my election board together, that'll be at the next meeting for you guys to confirm the election board. Got a few already who said yes, so I think we should be okay. Last few years, it's been kind of nice, we've had quite a few people come early. So then election day isn't as crazy as sometimes it used to be, so the longer early voting cycle has been working, I think, to our benefit. And otherwise, that's it, doing packets and scrambling on all this economic development stuff, getting up to speed on it all. Colette has been amazing while I've been away and done lots of great stuff, all her own stuff, a lot of my stuff, I'm very appreciative of that. And she's here tonight to help us through these if there are questions, but we also have Jess if there are questions about the economic development and the senior exemption resolution. And I think that's it. I can answer questions if anybody has them. Any of that stuff. Maybe on other things.
All right, thanks, Susan and Colette. Yes, this was a lot for, it was a lot of.
Lot of paper.
Very meaty, yeah. Okay, so correspondence, we have a few items in the packet. 4 items in the packet for correspondence. There's the letter requesting support from Prince William Sound RCAC. We've talked about that. There's a great piece of artwork from RJ Kopchak thanking the city public works crew. Just really nice to see appreciation being expressed. We've got a letter from Joy Landalus about the senior citizen property tax exemption and a flyer from the Prince William Sound College about wilderness first aid. And we heard Joy tonight ask, you know, and that's what her note says, I would appreciate a council vote for senior tax exemption. And I don't know that there's an action to be taken. I mean, the process is notices go out that seniors have until January 15th of the year to apply for the exemption. So that's the first deadline. They have until May 1st or April.
It's January 15th is the deadline.
Right.
But it may be considered timely even if sent in by May 1st.
Right.
So that has occurred in the past where we've still approved them through council or through BOE. If they come in after January 15th, but before May 1st.
Right, and some
And
people,
that's the hard deadline.
right, and there has been an appeal through the Board of, what is the East Hampton?
Equalization.
Equalization, thank you. So, yes, I mean, there was an instance that was Diana Rubio a couple of years ago where she applied, where she appealed at that. When the board was sitting, yeah. And so that was the process. I think Joy didn't know about missing the application period until June, when she got the assessment notice.
July 1st, when she got the tax bill.
Okay,
So it was way beyond the time frame,
Right.
and at that point, you're just unfortunately wait till the next year.
mhm,
So for 2026, she is on the list and approved for 26. She's timely there.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, missed the 25 year.
so. We could talk about it at pending agenda if we want to have a vote. I don't think it's, I mean, I don't think there's really a process for voting on one case at a time, because we're not sitting as the Board of Equalization and.
And there are others who missed the deadline in 2025 and did not receive it, and then remedied it for 26.
Right, so the reference that she makes to the other two parties. It are not comparable, because those people did apply within the timeline.
Yes.
The deadlines that were allowed, so it's not the same. So asking for the same treatment is not comparable just because of the timing of her request.
Madam Mayor?
Yes.
I guess this is a protocol or process question. Is this an administrative decision or a city council decision? I mean, it's a little awkward to have to vote on something that sounds administrative to me.
And it has always been strictly administrative, so certainly in 25, it was that way. And then when we changed all of this code, so that was in 24, but, there is when we put in economic development property tax exemptions, we changed some of the code that spoke to all exemptions and had this provision in there that talks about it going before council. So we are now putting the list for the seniors before council each year, based on that new code. We had never done that previously, so this is the first time we're seeing it here. I also don't see a lot of leeway for council to say too much about the senior list that's in here, because it's a lot of work that Colette has done to get to this point, to have this list. You are allowed to ask questions about anything specific if you want, or to pull one off and ask us to maybe do more research on one of the names or a couple of the names if you wanted to. And
I guess my question though is that where someone is asking for special consideration, isn't that an administrative?
Well, I think that administrative has made that decision. And
Yes.
it is now being brought to you because they are not happy with that decision.
Correct. But I do not see anywhere in code or anywhere that that's a place that you can take action on it.
But that would be my question, are we obligated to take action on it?
I would say not obligated.
If I can break in real quick, are we basing this all on a letter that's been sent? This is correspondence from someone. That's the format, Susan, in which it was received.
Multiple letters and multiple comments at council meeting.
Okay, so your code does provide for certain appeal rights related to exemptions, and those provisions would have to be used if someone were to formally appeal and force action by the council or the BOE or whoever else. It sounds like, I don't believe there's a code provision. I haven't looked, I don't believe there's a code provision that would allow somebody this far out of scope, this long later, to appeal in any kind of formal capacity. So it is correspondence. It's not something that the council could act on from where you're sitting tonight, if that helps at all.
So. Does staff want to respond to the note, or how do we, I mean, I think somebody should, maybe she's listening, but I think we should at least respond and.
Sure. I'll write a letter
Okay,
explaining council did not take it up as an action item and is not taking it up as an action item.
mhm.
Okay.
That's satisfactory. All right, any comments or questions on, the correspondence about,
Well, the correspondence from the ARPO, is that what you mean?
Mhm.
Was in last packet,
Right,
but then you corresponded
Right.
with them and they gave these answers that council had asked for, is that right?
yeah, and I guess I'm just trying to think, how do we respond to them? I don't know if we talk about it at pending agenda and talk about whether we wanna,
Sure,
okay,
I think, yeah, if council wants to.
Yeah.
Put an agenda item at our next meeting
Mhm.
for a donation of some kind to ask them to come.
right. Okay, so we'll talk about that at pending agenda. Okay, anything else? Right, ordinances and resolutions. So we've got resolution 022602. It's, what do you have to make a motion?
Madam Mayor,
Yes,
I would like to move to adopt resolution 02-26-02.
is there a second?
Second.
Yes. Okay, Councilmember Zastro.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I got a couple questions. I don't know what, I think Colin's in the room this meeting or,
Mhm.
yeah, maybe he can provide some answers to a couple questions, but. Is it okay for him to come forward or?
Uh, Sure.
I thought it was the senior thing, I'm like, what are you asking?
Yeah. Colin's not a senior yet.
Nobody's on the list.
Good evening. Good evening.
Okay.
Does it seem oddly familiar to sit in that chair?
I've been there before. In general, this seems like a really good order for the city and for the project, for Shepherd Point Road. I just had some questions, about the actual work that would be done, the H2O line replacement. And how, that would be done as far as the involvement with the city and with you, with the contractor you'd be working with to do that, get that work done. And as far as having that done in a way that the city would want, what's the involvement with the city in having that installed?
I mean,
I can take it.
yeah,
Okay, so good question. Thanks for everyone's consideration of the resolution. We appreciate it. It's a big part of the project. To get that realignment done, that property is very valuable to the overall. So with regards to the water line is sort of, that pre-exists the property, things. So that's just kind of tied up, but it's separate. I mean, the water line doesn't run through this 2 acres at all. However, the water line, and we've had a lot of good conversation with Kevin, with city manager, on how we're gonna do this. Actually met last week, met Monday with Joel and Kevin on site, talk about the process, about how it's gonna be done. So right now, we're blasting in and around Orca Creek to prep the site. So we have, the way we've agreed upon this is that we've got about 6 weeks of shutdown time. The water line is shut down right now, or will be soon, to start doing that work. The critical piece is March 15th, that we have to have that thing back up and running or as close to it as possible. If we have shutdowns, that's a different negotiation. But we've got a period of time where we can shut the line down and replace it. And it's an in-kind, 1-for-1, replace the whole thing with new, because we can't replace a little piece of it. It's too old. It's at least 45 years old, something like that. It's different materials, it's PVC, it's not really designed for above ground application. So we've got new stuff that's, and different size. It's a more common size for us to go to what is in place right now. So we get a 10-inch 12-inch pipe. You don't even make that stuff anymore. It's all custom made. So it's just easier, better to go with all new. And so the goal is to have it replaced by March 15th. It's about 6 weeks to get it done and have it done. So there may be some time for testing or pressure testing or adjustments, where we may need to shut it down again, but that's all in discussions about, if you do this, it can't exceed a certain amount of time, and there are issues about, we have to pay for it, if you have to move from another water source, I'm kind of talking your lane right now. But that's the goal, to have it done by March 15th, really no later than April 1st is our last discussion. So we're on the gun to get it done. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, mostly, and how that's going to be implemented is gonna be obviously overseen by city staff as well, making sure it's done in a way which.
The whole design has been in conjunction with a city engineer that we've hired. And NB or Shepherd Point's GMC and their engineers. So we've had a city representative throughout the whole entire design process.
Right.
From the very beginning of
Yeah.
this whole project, we've had that on the water line. So we are making sure that compliance with DEC, the right kind of pipe, everything's working together. And the two engineering companies are talking those technical specs.
And that's all in the packet too. Everything that's in the packet with the spec of the water line is in agreement with the city's engineers and with our engineers to make sure that it makes sense. The water transmission piece is pretty straightforward in the permitting because it's untreated water, but it's the structural piece that really we spent a lot of time on making sure that the anchoring is such that for an above ground water line, especially one that goes through challenging terrain like that, is everyone's happy with it. I think that's really all it boils down to is everyone agrees that this is the best approach to putting in a brand new water line. And it's all new, it's all, top of the line stuff, and it's gonna be real good water lines, so it'll last, and mostly because it's above ground and it does reverse some pretty harrowing stuff, goes under a bridge and all this, that it's just gotta be new, we can use any of the old stuff without really pushing critical infrastructure to a point that nobody's comfortable with, because if you try to marry up new with old, it's just never, you're gonna chase that rotten pipe all the way to the impoundment, so the goal is just to replace it with new and have everybody agree that it's the right system.
Very good, great, thanks for the explanation.
No problem, thanks, appreciate it. Anything else?
And in general, looking through the information on this, this seems to be a variety of benefits, it seems to the city, and we're supporting.
Yeah, I just think this is a great opportunity and I'm happy that everyone involved is stepping up to make this happen.
Comments? No further discussion. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign. Motion passes.
We have a second on that.
Mike Mickelson?
Okay.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. Okay. So next is resolution 022603.
Mayor, could I just give one piece of advice, sorry, or break in before? I was caught flat-footed earlier when you did your conflict of interest analysis on this one. And I didn't catch which council member alerted you to a conflict as far as their name being on the list. And you are correct that if their interest in the exemption was over 5,000, then it would absolutely be a substantial financial interest. But your code also provides 4 other factors that can stack to make it a substantial financial interest. And I just wanted to give those to you quickly. This is still your determination as to whether or not you declared a conflict, but I wanted to provide that before you decide whether that council member should be involved in discussion, just to clarify the record and make sure that you guys are covered, if that's okay. So the first is whether the financial interest is a substantial part of the consideration, the exemption being on the list, whether the financial interest will be significantly impacted or changed by the outcome of the action, whether the council votes for approval of the list, and then whether the financial interest is immediate and known or attenuated and dependent on factors beyond the official action, and then whether a reasonable person would consider the financial interest significant and expect the person to take actions to protect that interest. So I wanted you to have that in mind. This is a fairly straightforward, you guys are going to make an up-down call on something that a council member has applied for. So I wanted you to have that to determine whether or not you thought the council member should participate or not, as opposed to just the 5,000 cap.
Can you summarize those 4 again? That was pretty quick.
Yeah, I'm sorry. It's whether the financial interest is a substantial part of the consideration. So tonight you're considering a list of applications and your council member is part of that list. So a substantial part, you have a long list of names, but I think the application is a part of that consideration. The second one, whether the financial interest will be significantly impacted or changed by the outcome of the official action. the council member's interest in the exemption will be significantly impacted in that it will be either approved or not approved by council. Number 3 is whether the financial interest is immediate and known or attenuated and dependent on factors beyond the official action. It's immediate and known as to the official action because you're approving or disapproving the list. And then whether a reasonable person would consider the interest significant and would expect the council member who's applied to take actions and make decisions to protect that interest, to protect their interest in the exemption is the 4th one. So, and your code just provides that you weigh these. It doesn't say 3 out of 4. It doesn't say, it just says you weigh these factors, but I just wanted to make sure this is a pretty direct, you have a council member who's applied for something and you all are going to make a decision and discuss whether that application is granted. So I wanted to make sure it came back to you and it's not just a matter of how much the interest in the exemption is.
So you want me to weigh in again on whether or not there is a financial conflict of interest?
Yes, yeah.
I mean, I
Sounds like an impossible task.
don't think.
Those, so you're saying it only has to be one of those, Jess? One of those four?
No, you weigh the factors. I'm leading, Mayor. I'm leading a bit. You have somebody who's applied for something that council's gonna take an up-down vote on, and I'm just gonna go ahead and suggest that that probably is a conflict of interest, that council wants to protect the decision-making tonight and go ahead and have that council member step back. It's still your determination as mayor. You can take or leave the advice, but I just didn't want an action that it's a broad list of names. We don't think that it's not a large dollar amount, but at the same time, when you weigh these factors, I think there's some exposure in having that council member involved in the decision, and I wanted to flag it for you. So I'm leading hard, but I'm also talking fast and listing off 4 factors that you have to weigh. So it's a mixed bag.
Yeah, there have to be 2, and tonight we have 6 people here. What if there were 4 and we had 6 people here? Then we'd use the necessity thing and say, we need you guys to vote on.
Yeah, likely. And this would be a good use of the necessity rule because you're talking about a list of things and an administrative task and like how we've stepped into this role where we're having the council even approve a resolution of the list. It would be a legitimate use of the necessity rule, Susan. I just think if you have the option to get somebody who has an application in front out of that vote, you should probably take that option.
Okay, well, on the advice of our attorney then, I will ask member Adams and Councilmember Sherman recuse themselves from the vote on this resolution. So would anyone like to make a resolution to get it on the table?
Madam Mayor,
Yes.
I'd like to make a resolution, or I'd like to make a motion to adopt resolution 022603.
Thank you.
Second.
And second, Zastro, great. Okay, Councilmember Mickelson, do you want to speak to the motion?
This seems mostly just like housekeeping. Unless anybody has any major problems, it seems like something that has been done for a long time, and there's a pattern of established exemption here, and I would support this.
Thank you, Councilmember Zastro.
I concur with everything Councilmember said. Yeah, there's a pretty large list of seniors getting some early, so maybe that. Good.
Yeah. Any other council members? The ones who can, right? Still comment?
Can I just make a quick comment? There's one name of some people who have removed their name from the list. Because they no longer live there, no longer qualified, basically, and they came to us, so their name will be removed. And then I think one name is listed twice, so we'll just administratively remove that one. That was just an error, and that was it. Just wanted to make that clear.
Yeah, I mean, I think that Councilmember Mickelson said this is another to make the process as transparent can be an overused word, but make the process as public as possible so everybody knows what the process is and how the exemption is calculated, granted, and how people get on that list or aren't on the list. So yeah, it's just part of making sure that this process is as public as possible. Okay, all those in favor of the resolution, please signify by saying aye. Any opposed, same sign? Motion passes for. Zero.
To COI. To our COI.
Yes, yes,
That's mine. Shorthand.
yeah. All right, so now we've got resolution 022604. Okay, motion for the purpose of. Getting some discussion going, maybe?
Madam Mayor.
Yes, I'm being asked.
I move to approve resolution 02-26-04.
Thank you. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Seconded by Councilmember Rainey. Okay, Councilmember Zastrow. Speak to the motion?
Yeah, we're seeing some results from the work we did on Title V having to do with, trying to, generate some economic, development as far as for properties and residential space. And, staff has done their work in evaluating this, and as have we, all the information in our packet to determine that this is appropriate for what we have set up. And see no reason why not move forward on it. It's what we, why we, set up kind of popular did.
Thanks. Councilmember Rainey.
Glad to see people are taking advantage of it.
Everything? Okay. Other comments? Okay. I will say just, because I had to ask some questions to work through this process myself, that the code itself does not specify the exemption amount. That exemption amount is specified in the application. That's what we agreed on, and the code does require that the council make the application available, so that's where the dollar amount comes in for the different types of development. So for single family homes, the threshold for exemption was set at 150,000. For mixed use residential, it's 100% of the property.
Of the improvement value.
Yeah, yeah, right. And this is still all at council's discretion. It's discretionary. I mean, I was concerned about if we do it once, are we setting a precedent, but we're not bound by that in the future, is what I'm told. So it can change, yeah.
I just have one question that's, since I am being educated about this process specifically, I had a long conversation with, city clerk about it. Is it specified in the decisions that you made prior, the time frame? Is 8 years standard in this process?
I think that is also discretionary.
Jess, do you wanna speak?
Yeah, I can speak to that. So it's a little, the mayor already referenced, but I'm gonna start a little bit further back than your question, and I'll get there. When we were working through the changes to Title V, we picked up the ordinance and we were working on economic development exemptions. We had several work sessions trying to decide how complex Cordova wanted to create a program to encourage different kinds of economic development. And the timeout of you guys were updating your sales tax, your property tax, everything was moving at the same time, and we didn't have the economic development parameters nailed down when the changes to Title V were ready to move forward more broadly. So that's how we ended up, as the mayor stated, you guys adopted this application then that has the parameters, exactly what you are incentivizing currently through the end of 2027 for the application. And that was adopted per ordinance. So it does have the force of law. Council has adopted it by ordinance, but it is sitting in the application. So there's that first kind of weird piece of it. As we pick this up, and I just got involved the last couple of days working with Susan and Colette to work through some of these issues, what it's set up is a little bit of confusion, I think, in interpreting how the code reads versus how the application reads, and even some of the language within the application that references back to each other. So what council decided in this application is it created certain exemptions that are fixed, the single family residential, the affordable housing, the multifamily residential. Those set up specific criteria for how the mayor stated that the first $150,000 of improvements on a single family residential, it's for, I'm gonna get it wrong. It's for 8 years. Susan, am I off? It's for a certain, 8 years. It's for a certain period of time. Those are fixed. And then you guys, when they got to affordable housing, they started putting in more criteria because they wanted to define what affordable housing is. And they created these maximums. So you could get up to 8 years, and that depends on a series of criteria. So you see some discretion there. As far as on a one-off basis, taking in this application and saying it's a single family residential, we as council have full discretion to just mess with the time period and the amount. I would not encourage you to do that. I would say that you've set a fixed exemption through this application. But there is language, first, from a very broad legal perspective. This is an exemption granted by law. It's not a mandatory exemption. You have constitutional property exemptions that cannot be tinkered with at all and are required. This is an exemption. It's a privilege granted by law. So in legal terms, you have discretion, is what I'm telling you. And your code states that discretion and speaks to the best interest of the community. But I would interpret these two things as a whole, which again adds a layer of complexity because we didn't put it in code. We had an ordinance that adopted this application. I think when you interpret it all together, City of Cordova has extensive discretion, carte blanche discretion, to decide what you're going to incentivize through this economic development exemption. You then, by ordinance, adopted an application that has set some fixed time periods and amounts for these particular exemptions through the end of the year 2027. So unless you are talking about the affordable housing exemption, which has more latitude based on a series of criteria in this application, I would not recommend using your discretion to mess with time periods or amounts of the discretion at this time. Would it be defensible if you wanted to do that and if you wanted to use your discretion on a case by case? It may be defensible still because you do have a significant amount of discretion, but it would cause legal exposure, would be my opinion. That was a lot. Sorry.
Got it. Okay. Any questions for Jess or questions about the process? Right, let's have a voice vote. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed, same sign. Passes. Great. Okay, resolution 022605.
Madam Mayor, I would like to make a motion to adopt resolution 02-26-05.
I'll second it. It's been moved and seconded, Nicholson and Rainey. So Councilmember Nicholson.
Yeah, I mean, I'd like to reference some of the public comment we got from a former civil servant here who was in the development of a lot of this process, and there's been broad public support for creating more economic development, housing, etc. And I think this basically shows our community members that we are actively trying to promote exactly what's happening in this resolution here. And I'm happy to see that the people before me have done such hard work to put this together, and that people are willing to take advantage of these great programs.
Thank you. Councilmember Rainey. I agree with everything that was said before me. I just think that I'm pleased that people are taking advantage of the work we put in. Thank you. Other council comments? Anybody want to add to that? Okay. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign. Motion passes. Thank you. So unfinished business, we don't have anything under that item, new and miscellaneous business. Pending agenda, CIP list, calendar. Elected and officials list. So. For pending agenda, we talked about the Alaska Rural Vet. Thing, and I guess, yeah, do people want to ask? Do people want to see a specific motion brought forward? Or maybe we ask the manager to address it in the next manager's report about the feasibility of.
I wouldn't know my answer right now.
Sure.
We didn't budget it,
We didn't budget.
and I'm gonna call that out every time.
Okay.
We did not budget it. If you want that to happen, we're taking it from someone's budget.
Okay.
And we already used Neil's numbers, so it's not coming from you.
I know, you guys don't have anything.
So that means it's coming from the
Council,
staff.
I mean,
Mhm.
council's budget is zero.
So that's
Okay.
my report.
Okay.
If you want to bring it forward, we'll do that. We could write a memo and I can state that in the memo and you guys, it's your decision.
Thoughts?
So, you've had conversations with the folks that were planning to come over. Does that make or break their ability to come to Cordova with you, or is it?
I've just had the email correspondence, I haven't talked to them in person, so, yeah.
Great, great. And the breakdown of cost, everything, 25 was great.
Mhm.
Yeah, I just think that we're gonna have a lot of things trying to have this fiscal year that we're not gonna have enough money for.
Mhm.
And I think there might be a higher priority, that's so.
Mhm.
I would have a hard time pulling money from some.
Sure.
That was me.
Are they asking for space? I.
No, that funding, just funding,
Okay.
yeah, to cover. I mean, they brought a huge team, with 3 vets and 1 assistant and, or 1 vet tech and 1 admin person. Yeah, you need.
We could ask them to do every couple of years kind of thing in Cordova.
Yeah.
Or to put in timely on a budget cycle.
Sure.
Right.
I got something, since we're on topic of budgets and not touching budgets. And it's in our next meeting to talk about, but I did wanna bring up, the master plan for Parks and Rec. And I think some change to the pool. And if it's possible to, put that on the agenda to, talk about.
Are you looking for an update or what?
No,
what
I
do you-
would be looking at discussing an amendment to the budget to fund the master plan. For Parks and Rec to help secure available money, and we're already pretty deep into that process and pulled out halfway through.
Mhm.
And the only reason I'm bringing this up is because things, I mean, it's been a very well-known issue that the pool is nearing end of life and we have this hurdle and then we complete that hurdle. We get it up and running and now we're to a point where it's kind of stated that the Band-Aid might not work.
It won't work forever.
Yeah.
If I'm correct, we're somewhere around $35,000 into the master plan that hasn't been completed. And that funding will be lost at a point of time in the near future.
That, we don't have that funding. Do you mean like that price will go away at a certain time or?
The money that we've already allocated and spent on that.
Did we get halfway through a plan? Is
Sam,
that what happened?
yeah, Sam can address it.
But what did we decide about our vote on before?
Fine.
I'm sorry, just before we.
Nothing, I think I can send them back an email
Okay.
and say with the
So no,
capital
I-
behind it and, yeah.
Coming forward,
Yeah.
okay.
And I guess just to continue on the article thing, there is also another vet service coming to Cordova
Mhm.
too, so it's not like there's nothing here. Yeah, too, so.
But I'm sure they're more affordable, I mean, $160 for a spay is. somebody said that barely pays for the drugs. Yeah, so.
Hey, I can clear up a few questions with that. We are halfway, or we were halfway through the master plan. It was about $35,000 to get through half of it. When the next round, was up for the next year, we cut that from the budget. So, I've spoken extensively, and Sam and I have both with Corvus Design. They've been very upfront, letting us know that, they're willing to rescope it. A lot of the facilities that we have had on the first part of it, don't exist anymore. So Skaters Cabin was on there, the skate park, there were a few different areas, so, they're willing, and they actually reached out to me, their engineer reached out to me this week out of the blue, so still checking in and still asking if we're at a point. They've been keeping track of what's been going on too, they're working in Juneau right now, or they just finished up in Kenai, working in Juneau, so right now, we did have half of the master plan done, and they had community, we had community events, everyone came in and talked about what they wanted. But now it's looking like we need to go back and have those community discussions again, so part of the second half of the master plan is that. We would have more community input, and I think we have 1 or 2 sessions that's built into it for community input. For it, so.
We could focus down on what we're asking them to look at instead of this
Exactly,
huge array, we're gonna.
right,
Can get
so,
pulled into the pool, the darky and some of the other,
Right.
more.
and why the engineers is, that works with, Corvus contacted me is because they're willing to scope it, not just the conceptual plan. But they're willing to scope it with, looking at their property, where any property, it's not, but if we wanted to look, more of a civil engineering side of it, so. Would this fit here, is this a good spot, not just look at this pool, but actually would it fit where we're asking, so. In that, master plan too, they'll, come up with, and they do with all the master plans, how much is it gonna take to keep this facility running, a newer facility, so scoping out, what staff we need to run it. And that will decide if the facility will be, what can Cordova actually handle? So that's also very important.
So if I could ask the city manager's point, is there enough there, so this kind of goes back to Councilmember, Aaron's point, sorry. Is there enough there to develop at least a basic, plan that could be used, in particular, while for funding? I think that was your point. I think that's what you've discussed in the past. Is there something there that could be finished up that would be valuable, that would cost a huge amount more money?
I mean, I would have to ask them too, but in my opinion, I don't think so. Where, there's really nothing finalized, they went over each part, on it, and I'm going to send that out to you. And kind of got a good idea of what Cordova, had for parks and what we could potentially do to consolidate them. I think they were focused on that part of it, and not so much facility wide. So I'm not sure if it was really focusing on, the aging facilities. That hopefully answers your question. It was a broader report.
So anything that would be valuable, at least for the pool, or maybe just a handful of parts of the facilities would have to be kind of reconceptualized.
Reassess them. They're completely willing to do it. They've been amazing to work with. And they've done wonderful things all over Alaska. So, I think it's great that, even that I got a call and that they're keeping up on us. And how everything's going is a testament to them too. So they want to see us succeed, really. So, and we've already invested $55,000. Yeah.
But also too, as they go through CIP lists, and we're talking about all the different needs we have throughout the city. We have an existing CIP list in our packet right now that talks about parks and rec, the structure, planning and zoning. Presented one in our packet that doesn't have anything with parks and rec right now. But my hope would be we'd be able to put parks and rec in there Obviously, prioritization is gonna be tough, everything.
Absolutely.
We only have so many bonds we can have out in the work. But be great to see it on the list somewhere.
Yeah, absolutely. There's a lot of hard decisions that need to be made and priority, you know, is key. But willing to work on anything. Keep this going.
Thank you. Great. Councilmember Nicholson.
Yeah, I think for pending agenda, it come up in the last few months, but. I've overheard some community members talking about it here the other day. And I think it certainly bears more discussion, which is reevaluating. And or looking at our policies involved with tiny homes, mobile homes, all these sort of housing issues that. You know, in the last 20 years, there were some decisions made that maybe aren't the same decisions that we would make today, just given the state of some of our housing options and how decrepit some of the lower income housing has gotten in the last 20 years. So I think we definitely need to be looking at this sometime in the next couple of months. I don't expect us to move mountains anytime soon, but just kind of evaluating where we're at and seeing if those policies and or previous decisions are still most appropriate or where we're at currently.
Thanks.
Yeah, what happened with Aaron and the putting this on as an agenda item? Did we get a second for that? Are we writing it on the list as pending agenda or nothing?
I'll second that.
Putting it on as an agenda item to adjust the budget to fund the second half of the.
That's
Master plan.
requested, yes.
Yes. And it might not be the very next meeting, but I guess whenever we can work that out. Okay. Thank you, sorry, I didn't mean to. cut you
No,
off.
that's good.
Yeah, that's.
You need to do that, and
And Mayor,
Yes.
I'd like to just piggyback off of what Councilman Nicholson brought up about current housing and to add to the discussion, what to do with and what we can do or cannot do with derelict properties in town as well, where, you know, a viable home could be put on that property if for example, the old high school were torn down. You know, we have several pieces of property in town under those conditions, and I'd like to know what we can do legally or not, or explore possibilities. Because that thing's been there ever since I moved here and no one lives in it. That's just one of them.
Yeah.
That comes to mind, and I wonder if we can't incorporate that in our discussions as well.
Yes, code. Review. Yeah, I know that one of the,
I can send out some code if you would all like to read some, there's derelict. I have to come up with the right name.
Ground is it called?
No,
nuisance.
I don't.
Nuisance code.
Nuisance code. I can send that out to you guys, you can look at that, I don't know. About, you know, this private property, but, I'll send it to you. We can do that, and that'll give you a start to see what that impact in the city is, because. Depending on how it's brought forward. You know, we could be the person cleaning it up
yeah,
and how. So, I will. Nuisance.
I did ask the clerk a little while ago about setting up a housing working group, and she asked me for some language about that, you know, what are the goals, what would the membership be made of, and I have started drafting that, but that would be a group I think that could review this question, could work with the city planner, and I know that the group, the Incremental Development Alliance, when I had that, when the Economic Development District hosted a workshop last fall, one of the things that they talked about after that was a code audit, was looking at our code for the changes that we could make that would make some of those things more possible, that would make accessory dwelling units more possible, things like that, so it's definitely on my list too.
Madam Mayor.
Yes.
So I have two comments, and sorry if I'm slow to the conversation, but I'm just trying to. First comment is on the master plan. If we bring that back on the agenda, I'd like to see current financials. Of the budget where we are at with. Well, we're in the new year, but still. Just for, not quite the third quarter, anyway. That would still be useful to keep looking at that. And then secondly, with those economic incentives that we did pass, we did talk about rehabilitation. And there are opportunities for people to receive exemptions if they demolish or take care of blighted properties. So we were trying to encourage that in there. So that is an option for local residents. You know, if they want to take that on, they can get exemptions for removing blighted property. So we have that definition already as well. But a housing group might be like useful.
So do you agree that what, Councilmember Mickelson was saying will just get incorporated into the housing group, or it's not needing to go on any agenda anywhere? Where there's no specific action item that you need?
Well, I guess it sounds like we should get the group going and then
Yeah.
see what recommendations come out of it. And, yeah. Bring those to council. They're talking about specific code changes.
Six o'clock on the 18th is the CIP work session. Talk about that.
Okay, so, all right, so is there anything, yeah, we can talk about the calendar, the CIP list. That's,
Do you feel like that work session? Like, do you wanna bring our CIP list? Our resolution to the meeting for editing?
yeah, I mean, we could, I think what I was hoping we could do is what Sam. With the manager said in the meeting that we would have some mock-ups of one-page summaries for a few different projects. And there was also one specific budget table that I'm interested in, because again, the manager's been saying we have to figure out what we want to bond for, and I would like to see a. Table that summarizes by revenue source, how we would fund capital improvement projects over, say, a 5-year or even a 10-year span. And bonding would be one of those funding sources, but there would be others. So,
If the project's a $30 million project, you're gonna bond to get a match to do anything. I mean, that's just kind of the reality of it.
mhm.
So those are what that bond looks like, how many bonds, what's the max amount of money we wanna bond for.
Right, but I mean, you kind of have to start with like, what are the prospective funding sources for each one of those projects, and then, yeah. So anyway, figure out what the capital stack is, as people like to say, yeah. It's the pool. I mean, so I guess I was thinking in terms of like, how do we set up a capital improvement plan, but that's different from trying to prioritize the capital improvement project.
Okay, I didn't know if we wanted to update our capital improvement resolution for the legislature. Just that we usually do that in December or January, I think either. But.
Yeah.
We have a lot on there already, so.
Okay.
All right.
I think if somebody said, here's $5 million, what would you do with it? We would say, have a pool that needs.
We have a water.
Yeah.
Good art.
We have.
Absolutely. Well, once a public works director, always.
I'm sorry.
I like looking at it.
Or using
Or Fisher.
director.
So anything else under new and miscellaneous business? Okay, then why don't we go to audience participation? And if there's anyone in the audience who wants to come up and make a comment. Any item? Sure, well, here, maybe after. Yeah, or no. Here.
Hello, Mayor, Council, staff, David Allison, 203 Whiskey Ridge Road. I enjoyed my time here, but I don't miss your packets 2 or 3 times a month. And the good thing is I get to leave after comments tonight, but you guys still have meeting to attend. So anyway, thank you for all your time, staff, as well. If I may leave you with one comment, I guess. When you're making, either the mayor or the maker of the motion are moving ordinances or resolutions for the people in Radio Land and YouTube, if you could read the title of the ordinance, so that people out there know what you're talking about. Most people, most people have the packet that are really interested. But if they're just listening on the radio, driving down the street or something, you don't know what you guys are talking about if you don't say that title, and so somebody said it.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
anyway, thank you for all your work and efforts and volunteer. I know the public paid you well for this job, so thank you.
Thank you for spending your Wednesday with us.
Thank you. This is Dottie Whitman, 245 US Drive. I want to thank you all for all the work that you do. And I just had a question when you're talking about these exemptions and also creating spaces and blighted spaces. And in the midst of all of my interesting transitions of things, I am possibly gonna buy Steam and bring it back to life. And because we needed a transitional place until our other property is ready. And we also had talked about restoring Main Street and what it needed, and then we didn't realize it was us that was gonna be part of that in terms of more than just one project, but I wanted to know if restoration and preservation of an existing property that is, has been with the lights turned off for a while and not been part of our retail storefronts, if that would qualify for the exemption that also has an apartment in the bottom that has not been habitated for a while and recently was damaged, water damage, so it's also going to be that restoration. And also I'm going in there and doing asbestos treatment when I get it, hopefully. And so we're also doing that kind of remediation to make it more safe environment for people to be in. So that was one of my questions, and for you to add to your, when you're making these decisions about properties that would be exempt. So thank you all for all you do.
Thank you, Dottie.
Thank you.
Yeah. Any further audience participation? Okay, why don't we take some council comments? Or we we'll break. So Councilmember Zastro started that end, start at the end of the alphabet, go up.
Great meeting, it's great to see you in the audience as always, so, that makes things, feel a lot more real, folks, sitting out there. I just want to recognize the difficulties that Samantha's going through with Parks and Rec, and just commend her on doing the best she can. I did have the opportunity to sit in on the last Parks and Rec meeting, and just witnessed a really well-oiled machine working, coming up with ideas and doing a good job. So, I really enjoyed sitting in on that meeting and listening to the process that they were working through. I'm also, again, happy to see people taking advantage of the economic development property tax exemptions. We spent a lot of time on that in Title V, and seeing people take advantage of it is exactly what we wanted to see, so really happy to see those move forward. And in general, looking forward to the CIP discussion we're gonna have on the 18th. That's gonna be a lot of work and a lot of things we're gonna wanna do, knowing we're not gonna be able to do everything, so it's gonna be a struggle prioritizing what it is we can do and what needs to be done right off, and hopefully as time allows and the ability through funding, we can work through the list and get everything done too, but it's gonna be tough prioritizing, but it's time to do that. Thanks everybody here on the table.
Thank you. Councilmember Sherman?
Sure, I'm trying to remember everything I was thinking about this week. I'm gonna echo Councilman Zastro. It is really exciting to see those exemptions coming forward after all that work we did. And I think that we could probably do a little bit more just hearing, Dottie's comments kind of. And Councilman Adams' comments, thinking, okay, maybe there is more there that we can do, so maybe we can get working on that as well. I really wanted to commend the Ice Storm Committee for all the good work they're doing. It has been bleak and rainy, and it's just been so bright and cheery to have all this happening with Ice Storm once again, as it always is. And I know I have guests in town, so it is a good thing for the community. And I just wanted to, I've had multiple life experiences in the last couple of weeks, and they both involved CCMC, which has just been incredibly great. Once again, I am amazed at the amount of service that we can get out of our hospital. People think you can't do that in Cordova, and you can, or they will find a way to do it for you. So I'm just grateful for everyone at CCMC that's been so helpful. And then also the school system too. I haven't had a student in the school for a while, so I haven't interacted with the school for a while. And I have in the last couple of weeks, and I have nothing but high commendations for the school. And really, we're so lucky in so many ways here, so. And I had more on my list, but that's all I can remember.
Councilmember Rady?
Yeah, I'm glad to see Sam. Nice to have you at the table. Nice to have a full table. Been missing that, so that's nice. Just a lot of hard work. P and Z just impresses me on a regular basis, so doing a lot of hard work and paperwork involved in that. Excited that we have bodies to come in and run for seats. Have a great choice of folks coming in this time, so that's amazing. It really is fun. Everybody should just try it. I tried to keep a straight face, I really did. But yeah, I just appreciate all the hard work the city does and getting us what we asked for. Thank you.
Adams?
Just thank you, staff, and again, to see you back. But for the thorough packet, and when I came to pick it up, I asked Colette, is it gonna be a long meeting? She said, yes, a doozy. Her response, but what I also appreciate is every staff's willingness to sit down and explain things to me. And I did that over the phone, and then also when I came to visit. So thank you for that. And also I would like us to find a way to really acknowledge Coast Guard. As a community. I know that a few years ago, that was the theme for Ice Storm. Was several years ago now. But they are an integral part of the community, and when you need them, you need them. And it's not so easy to move a family here and then move them out after 3 years. They contribute to our community in many ways that are not always seen. So I don't know what that looks like, but I would like us to be a little bit more proactive acknowledging them.
Just like to thank staff. Thanks for all the time and effort that was put in the packet. Thanks for everybody participating in the audience. And showing up. Yeah. I would just echo all the previous councilman's comments here. You know, traveling around Alaska teaching music, I've been to a lot of different communities lately, and a lot of them have the very similar problems that we have, if not even more extreme problems. But, you know, I think, our last public comment here really brought up something. We have a lot of historical buildings here that are kind of right on the edge of falling into disrepair or already have, and a lot of communities have already lost these buildings, especially in climates such as this. And so I think we definitely should make that a priority to figure out how to preserve these buildings that we have, and we're so lucky to have them, because you know, that certainly contributes to the aspect of our community that makes it unique. And I think, you know, it's not a really hard thing for us to do the process that's already been done by previous council makeups to apply that and to this historical building thing. So I'm in great support of that. I'm also would like to echo the comments about it's really nice to have contested elections. I think that's really good to see that people are stepping up to the plate. And there's a big workload here, and so there's only so much that our city employees can do, and there's a lot of things that we can help push in the right direction. And this whole pool situation is certainly bringing that up. I'd also like to thank Sam and all the people that are working on it, and Peterson Wall, and we're very lucky to have him here. So thank you.
Thanks. I just want to tack on one comment. The Cordova Community Foundation is having a donor appreciation party tomorrow night at the Pioneer from 6 to 8. It's open to the public. There's gonna be a lot of good food, no charge. Just come and share the enthusiasm with us, and we get to acknowledge the grantees from this year, and we just want to say thank you to our donors. So, yeah. So, okay, with that, we can, do folks want to take a break for a few minutes? Yes.
Motion to adjourn.
No.
We have to executive session.
Yeah.
So do you wanna make the motion to go in and then we'll recess?
Sure. Would somebody like to make the motion to go into executive session? There are two motions on the agenda, and
Or move them together, so make the motion for both.
okay. The motion, Councilmember Sherman.
I move we go into executive session for two items on the agenda. Items 15 and 16. See if I can remember how to do this. Subjects which maybe we clearly have an adverse effect on the finances of the government. Matters the immediate knowledge of which would clearly have an adverse effect upon the finances of the government.
But you should kind of say what they are too.
Okay, I didn't know for sure.
Sorry.
So one is council discussion with city manager regarding land sale negotiation with DNY. And the other is council discussion with city liability insurance company's attorney regarding Cover Star travel lift incident. Both of which have a matter and immediate knowledge of which would clearly have an adverse effect upon the finances of the city.
Thanks. Is there a second?
Second.
Great, moved and seconded. And all those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed, same sign. No objection. We will take a short break before we go into executive session.
Thank you.
Thanks.
All the way off, I guess.
You guys, coming in?
Yeah. Yes.